we're going to start off in enthusiast class. We're going to start off with, of course, John Wheeler in his 2014 370Z. So John Wheeler is the rear-wheel drive enthusiast class record holder with a 226.8. So that's our benchmark. Everybody needs to get past that benchmark so that they can be in competition and see where we can go from there. So John Wheeler, his car, enthusiast class car, makes north of 800 horsepower. Now with that said, with the tire constraints the way they are, he runs the car in the mid 500s to make sure that the tires stay gripped up. That's very important. You got to have grip to be able to go fast. With that said, again, John Wheeler's looking to shave some seconds off that lap time. So look for John to get into, hopefully, the 224 territory. We'll see how that looks, and we're going to see how his competition can stack up and see how close they can get to his current time. All right, our next competitor, Joel Renteria. So we actually saw him at finals this past year, and now he's going to be going back to COTA. Last time he went to COTA, he ran a 234. He's looking to increase his horsepower by adding a new turbo to the car. Hopefully, going to be looking to add anywhere from 50 to 75 horsepower, which obviously will have a great impact on that back straightaway. He's really looking to get sub 230. So he's looking to knock off more than 4 seconds. I'm hoping he gets closer to more like 8 seconds, because that'll really put him in contention for the overall enthusiast class. That's what he needs to be, and that's what hopefully him and his pals at WTX from Odessa, Texas are hoping that he gets into. All right, our next competitor also has a Civic Type R, but he's got a 2019 Type R with full bolt-ons. So Stephen Wynn is making about 380 horsepower. He previously went to COTA and he ran a 232. He's looking to best that lap time by over 2 seconds and bring home a sub 2 minute and 30-second lap time, and we're really hoping that he can. This is going to create a good matchup between him and Joel to see who can take home the fastest front-wheel drive enthusiast class car. These guys are going to be battling out the entire weekend, so keep an eye on these guys, and we'll see who comes out ahead. All right, now we're going to throw a Subaru into the mix. Now, Austin Sierra is going to show up in his 6-star auto repair Subaru WRX, and he's going to be showing up with an EFR 7163. I personally ran this turbo for a long period of time. I love this turbo. It's going to make anywhere from 5 to 550 horsepower. It's going to make for a really good power band, really responsive, going to be an excellent car. Now, if it's all going to depend on how much grip he can get coming out of the corners, he's hoping that his previous lap time of a 236 is going to be nowhere near that. He's looking for a 10-second gain, looking to get around 226, which means Jonathan Wheeler is going to have to watch out because this guy is coming for that class win. If you know any of the other enthusiast class competitors, send them my way. I'd love to get some information on them and be able to give everyone else the insights and the scoop of what they're going to be doing at Super Lap Battle COTA. All right, now we're going to jump into street class. So street class can be one of the most competitive classes overall at this event. Tons of people sign up for it. It's really going to bring out a lot of interesting cars, and we're definitely going to see as we go through the lineup of street class. All right, first up, we have Turner Dobbins. He's showing up with his 2020 Supra, making a whopping 670 brake horsepower. That's right, 670 horsepower in this Supra, going for gold. So as of right now, he has the best lap time of a 218, and he's hoping that he can get to a 215. This is a guy who has lots of experience. He's currently the NASA Texas TT director, so he knows how to time trial, and I hope he knows how to time attack, because it's going to be a battle to see if he can get to where everyone else is in street class. All right, now we got a fan favorite, Thomas Smith. He's coming to the town bringing his 2005 Subaru STI. He's been rocking this thing for, hell, as long as I can remember. He's got more experience than probably half the damn field. Not only, he probably has more experience with all of them combined. This guy's got 19 years experience. Hell, I remember him driving Tony the Tiger back in the day. He's got Subaru experience for days. He's pit crewing for himself. He's the driver. He's the everything on his team. He's going to be bringing the heat to everyone at that field. But you know what? His driving always does the talking. His mouth never does. He's always putting down the lap times. He's always putting in the work. You know this guy's going to bring it. He just came off of the finals win at Global Time Attack back in November. So he's definitely coming locked and loaded and ready to go. I'm pretty excited to see what this guy can do. So he did a 2-minute, 19-second lap back in 2022. And he's really hoping to get to the goal of a 2:17. He's pretty conservative about his lap times, so I think once he gets out there and once he starts competing with these guys, I'm hoping to see a 2:16 out of him. I think that's going to be right in the mix of the street class, and absolutely right street class all-wheel drive times. He's going to definitely be right where it needs to be. He's making around 550 horsepower. He's always smart with his tires. He's always smart with his setup. He's definitely somebody that you always have to watch out for. And, well, interestingly enough, he's one of the quietest guys out in the field. So keep an eye on him, keep an eye on that Subaru, and let's hope that we can get this Subaru all through the weekend. So now we got Lelouch. He's coming to us, and he's going to bring in what else? A 2021 Toyota Supra. Now, I will say, in time attack terms, right now this car's only making around 400 wheel horsepower, which, as we talked about before with some of the other guys, the magic number is north of 550. So he's a little underpowered. Now, with that said, he's growing his experience level. He currently has a handful of SCCA track days and 2023 Super Lap Battle under his belt. So he's got a little bit of time. He did run a 240 at the last Super Lap Battle, but he's really hoping to knock down 15 seconds off that lap time and get to a 225. I think this is one of those cars that's in development. He's working with PhD Racing, and he's really getting his car sorted and getting it prepared for future endeavors. This is probably one of those guys you're going to want to watch and see how the development turns out over the course of next year and beyond. Now we're bringing to you another Toyota Supra. Big surprise here. So the Toyota Supra is definitely going to be one of the cars that you consistently see at any time attack event. They're just such a great car to bring. With that said, Isaac Torres is bringing his 2020 Toyota Supra with 600 wheel horsepower under its belt to this event. Now, he's never been to COTA before, but he is projecting a 220. To give some sort of idea, he did run a 152 at finals at last year, so that kind of gives you an idea of where he might stack up versus other Supras that have done this in the past. With that said, he has a turbo and some other things, so it'll be interesting to see his progression throughout the weekend. He's going to be one of those guys that kind of probably starts off at a higher lap time and is going to continue to chip away at the lap time throughout the weekend because he's going to be learning this track for the very first time. So keep an eye on him as he goes throughout the weekend. Hopefully he can manage his tires, bring enough tires, so we can really see how he progresses and is able to have tires at the very end to put in that final heater at the very last second. Now, with our first BMW entry, we have Mark Kilgore. He's pushing a good number of 550 wheel horsepower out of this BMW. It's a BMW M4. Now, with that said, Mark doesn't have any lap times around COTA yet, so he's projecting he's going to do around a 228. With that said, Mark's going to have to really work and chip away at that pace, hoping to get exactly where he needs by the end. Now, with that said, he's got a lot of modifications to this car, and he's definitely going to be using his experience the last 8 years in time attack and various SCCA and grid life events into his advantage. It's a good amount of track time he's got under his belt, and I'm sure he understands how to use this car and get it prepared to go to battle in time attack land. All right, we have our second Subaru entry. Hopefully it'll be the second Subaru entry to be able to cross the finish line on the last day with Corey Crowder. He's again showing up with that magic number of just over 500 wheel horsepower at 520. So he's got a 2008-ish hatchback. So he's got that nice little hatchback that they don't make anymore that everyone wishes they still made, but whatever. It is what it is. So he's been tracking this car for about 5 years. He's expecting to look around 230. I'm really hoping he can kind of pick that up a bit, as street class is going to be quite a bit further up the road from that. But without his time ever being there, he's probably being a little conservative with his expectations. With that said, he built his twin scroll custom setup. He's hoping that with that horsepower, he's able to not utilize any aero on his car. Where's the aero, man? And be able to slipstream down that back straightaway. Maybe. All right, with our second BMW, we have Tim Turner showing up in his 2005 BMW M3. Now, apparently, at this time, he doesn't even know how much horsepower he's making. So, I don't even know what this guy's going to show up with. Maybe he'll show up with an LS all of a sudden. Who knows? But at the end of the day, this guy's got 3 years of time attack experience, HPD with grid life, and so on and so forth. He's basically showing up to COTA, never been there before, but he's hoping to go sub 240 on his very first go. Again, this is going to be one of those guys we're going to have to watch and see how he can progress throughout the weekend, see how he can manage his tires and various other consumables to see how he can improve his lap time throughout the weekend. Now, with that said, this is one of those situations where he's probably not going to have the most amount of power, is what I'm really going to assume. So it's going to be a situation where he's going to be playing a little bit of catch up in the back of the field at street class. But with that said, this is an awesome looking car, as you can see here. Gloriously good looking car. So I'm a big fan. If you show up with a livery, you already got my stamp of approval. So let's check out this car, see how it goes, and let's hope that he can bring home a better lap time than what he's thinking, which I think he can do. All right, so now probably the least modified car in street class, who's only there because of one simple rule, and that is you have to be the owner of the car to drive in enthusiast class. So Will Dries, he's going to be driving the Hyundai Elantra N that he's been driving, that he drove at finals in November. So this car actually threw down some impressive lap times at finals. So I'm not completely throwing this out there, but I will say it's only going to be making around 300 wheel horsepower. He doesn't even know, really. He's just stabbing in the dark because hasn't put it on a dyno or anything like that. But he's going to have a tune this time around, so he is going to have a number eventually. But for the most part, I mean, you're talking about a car that has like springs and a tune and some wider wheels. So not exactly a heavily modified car, but it's quick and Will's at the helm. So definitely something that he can set up, tune right, get rolling, and having a good time with. He is projecting to hopefully end up with just a top 5 in the front wheel drive in street class. Now, with that said, hard to say, right? The class is pretty stacked, a lot of guys in it. So we'll see what Will Dries and this Hyundai Elantra N can bring to the party. All right, so today we're going to be looking at Mike Soto. He's running with Team Early Apex Racing. And ding, 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 we get a little bit more diversity here in street class. We're looking at a Cadillac ATS-V. Very strange for street class in terms of you don't see these all too often at the track, not to mention see him in time attack. But he is bringing a legitimate weapon here with 645 horsepower. He is projecting, well, let's look at his current lap time. His current lap time is a 227, and he's hoping to better that with a 225. Now, with that said, to be in the top mix of street class, you're going to need to be sub 20, I believe. But I think he's going to be right there, and I think the competition is going to push him to push this car a little bit harder. Big thing that he has going for him is he's got 20 years of HPD experience, although this is his first year in time attack. That is a big jump, I will say, in a sense, because now you're talking about competition. You're not just essentially going around and turn some laps. So he's going to have to figure out ways to get that time moving in the right direction throughout the entirety of the weekend. It will be exciting to see that happen. He is running this car on a stock turbo with stock injectors, but he's running on E85, and he's got a rear wing to help that rear grip of that car as he goes through the S section of COTA. So we'll see what he can do. Really excited to see this Cadillac attack some time. All right, now we got Rigo Grajeda showing up in his Rigo built garage with his RBR crew Toyota Supra. Again, another Toyota Supra, the best car in time attack, especially for street class. Showing up right, he's got 560 wheel horsepower. He's never been to COTA, but for reference, he's run a 155 at Buttonwillow. He is projecting a 220, which, in my opinion, I think he's shooting for the moon here. I know these cars are fast, but never be in Dakota. And with the previous understanding of the lap time from Buttonwillow, I think he's going to really struggle to get there, but I'm hoping he does. It will be an interesting situation to watch him progress throughout the weekend. Basically, this car's got full bolt-ons, Öhlins, and a Stage 2 trans, and a bunch more. But we all know that the Supra doesn't need a lot to be really fast. Big question that always comes down to it is what kind of tires are you on, and do you bring enough to really make an impact? Now we have Ryan Matthews with Team After Dark Speed in his 2002 Corvette. This car is a street class car, making around 650 horsepower. And if you know anything about vets, they can absolutely turn some blisteringly fast lap times. He has run a 220 previously, and he's projecting a 218. With that said, he has a lot of experience in racing, endurance racing, time attack, autocross, all sorts of stuff. He's not a guy that's just showing up for the very first time. This is a guy that knows how to turn a wheel. He's got a Corvette to make the wheel turn and go and do the things. So he's going to be out there, and I think he's going to be a guy to watch. He might just upset this street class with a Corvette. All right, we got Kyle McHugh showing up from Team Neo Racing. He's showing up in his 2022 Toyota Supra. This car is going to be in street class. He's repping a lot of horsepower in this car, and the only reason why I know that is because he's got an EFR 9280 under the hood, which tells me he's definitely got some power in this bad boy. With that said, he previously ran a 2 minute 22 seconds, and he's targeting 215. 215. Again, that's getting closer and closer to Jackie Ding's record in street class. I hope that he can kind of put some more pressure on that. I think he's being a little conservative there, but I'm hoping he can push that and get closer to Jackie Ding's record. I think that'd be really awesome to watch. His motor is built by BMB, and he's got some 6R custom turbo kit, IDE 1300 injectors. He's got a built transmission, which is obviously going to be required based on the horsepower numbers we're expecting out of this EFR 9280. And more importantly, he also has an AP big brake kit, front and rear, because, well, you got to have brakes if you're going to have this power. And he's tuned by Wedge Performance. This car, pretty stout. This is going to be a guy that you need to watch, and you're going to be interested as he goes down that back straightaway to see what kind of mile per hour he's pulling on people as he goes down. All right, guys, we have the lowest horsepower Supra of all coming to you in street class, coming with Brad Wilson with Team Turn 1. And this Toyota Supra is only making 360 wheel horsepower. So he's definitely going to be at a deficit with others pushing 6, 7, 800 horsepower. It's insane. This guy's only bringing 360 to the game here, but he is targeting a 2 minute 35 second lap time. He's competed in time attack for Apex Driving, NASA TT, and lots of other track days, so he's got good experience. But he's also bringing some stuff from Varus Engineering, their diffuser, hood vents, some other things that's really going to help him mitigate the amount of drag this car is going to have. But he also has wing splitter and all those other good things. He's really only driving on RSR lowering springs, so this car is very much really an enthusiast class car. But because it is a Supra, it's in street class, so it's going to be interesting to see how he stacks up with the rest of the field. But I will say, this is very much bringing a knife to a gunfight in terms of horsepower. All right, now we got Anthony Pearson coming to us from Team Lap Sector. He's got a 2020 Supra. Again, Supra is time attack. He's making around 650 wheel horsepower in street class, and he's making that horsepower with a Borg Warner EFR turbo, upgraded fueling system. He's got coilovers. He's got singular end plates, 9 Lives Racing rear wing, custom front aero, splitter. Everything's looking good on the time attack front there. He's only had one competitive season, and that was last year. He did Super Lap Battle, and he also did finals this past year. He did a 2-minute, 25-second lap at COTA last year, and he's hoping to shave at minimum 5 seconds off that lap time. So we're going to see that's going to put him right in the hunt there for street class. It seems like everybody's going for that sub 220 mark and a lot of Supras. So it'll be fun to see how all these Supras stack up and really see what the horsepower delta between these Supras are and see how that really plays out in the lap times. All right, you may have heard me say this name already, but Jason Merck, he's going to be showing up with 2 cars. Count them, 2. He's going to bring a BMW M2 to this competition in street class with about 600 wheel horsepower. Now, with that said, I think he's going to be a little bit lacking in a couple areas. He's shooting for a 2-minute 20 lap time, but he does have the experience of it being his home track, which definitely helps in getting him around that track as fast as possible. This car has the OG Motorsports custom suspension setup on it, which pretty cool little setup there. We'll have to dig into that a little bit more later on. And he's got some Zebulon Aero, so I'm really interested to see what that is and what it brings to the party, because the only pictures I've seen so far, this car is looking completely stock. So this could be one of those cars that could outperform what expectations we have set for it with the latest modifications that he has done to it. But only way to find out, you got to be there, you got to tune in, and you got to watch. All right, now we're going to jump into limited class, where the tread wear rating goes down, down, down. So now it's 60 tread wear or higher. A lot of guys will still use a little bit higher in limited class, I must admit. But stickier tires, bigger wings, bigger splitters, bigger everything. And more importantly, you can now have things like a sequential transmission. Now you have to actually pull it. You can't just paddle it unless it came with it. But these are the cars this is where the speed really starts coming on. This class here is really where Time Attack starts really showing its true form with all the amount of cool, crazy aero that you can get on. This is where people love to see in Time Attack. This is where the wings, the everything, the amazing, you're talking about full cages. Some guys have them in street, but let's be honest, this is where in limited class, this is where it's really coming on strong for Time Attack and really showcasing what Time Attack can do. Our current limited class records are as follows. Limited all-wheel drive is held by J.C. Monet with a 218.590. Now we have William I. Young with a 219.368, and we got Eric Fleming with a 212.271. What does that tell me? Tells me that there's a lot of opportunities for these limited class guys to break some records this weekend. So I'm really hoping to see COTA go off with a bang and we break every single one of these things, because records are meant to be broken and we want to see people go as fast as they can. All right, for our first driver in limited class, we got Daniel Oliver. He's driving with Team Limited Break Motorsports. He's got a 1991 Toyota MR2. You don't see too many MR2s out at the track, and you definitely don't see too many in Time Attack. So I'm excited again to have some diversity in the class. It's always great to see different cars, see what people can do, see what they can do, bring to these cars. So he's going to be in limited class. He's going to be rocking 500 wheel horsepower. Now here's the big kicker. His current lap time around COTA is 2:35, which in limited class ain't going to cut it. But with his recent little changes and all the things that he's done on top of, getting better at driving, as we all always do, he's projecting a sub 220 lap, which is going to put him right in the hunt for limited class. So I'm excited to see exactly what he's going to be able to put down. He's done Super Lap. He's been a GTA driver for multiple years. And overall car mods, I don't know too much about the car. I don't know too much about Toyota MR2s. But what I do know is he's got a transmission from a VW GTI and a Link G5 ECU. So hopefully that's enough to propel him. I mean, it is making 500 wheel horsepower, but let's see what he can do. I'm really excited to see this awesome car at the track and see what Daniel can do on the track at COTA. All right, now we got Matt Davis with Team Mode Push. So I'm assuming it's for mode push button start. I don't even know. But essentially, he's bringing a 2016 BMW M3 to the battle in limited class. He's bringing 650 horsepower, powering this BMW, hopefully to glory as he goes through. His current lap time is a 225.5. He's really hoping to bolster that up and do a sub 220 lap. I think he's absolutely going to need it for limited class. He's absolutely going to need that to be in the hunt. And definitely one of those things that you need to be able to put down that heater in that moment. With that said, he's got HPDE, drifting, he's got instruction, he's got a lot of extra things under his belt that are going to help him be able to cope with the rigors of time attack and be able to control this car around the corners of COTA. So I'm really excited to see that happen as he goes in this BMW in limited class. With that said, he's rocking some GT Aero. He's got an AP Racing big brake kit. He's got SPL suspension, upgraded turbos, OS Geiken rear differential. He's got a lot of really cool mods on this thing that'll really make it really have the ability to turn some good lap times. So we'll see what Matt Davis can do with his BMW M3 around COTA, and it better be sub 220. All right, guys, now I'm bringing you the man, the myth, the legend, the Jackie Ding, PhD Racing with Alex Lee and Alan Ma. So they're bringing their BMW M2 to limited class, bringing 670 horsepower down your pipe. Now, with that said, they are projecting between a 215 and a 218. He already did a 213 in the Supra, so I expect more from Jackie Ding, but I also understand he is developing a new chassis. He's starting from scratch. He's been working his way up. But with that said, I think he's got the driving experience of a few laps, maybe. Oh, wait, I meant to say a few records with a few different organizations. So if there's one guy that can bring this BMW to the gold, I think it's going to be Jackie Ding. With that said, he only really has things like coilovers, downpipe, some light aero, and some 305 size tires. So it's not like he's really modified the crap out of this thing, although I will say it does make 670 wheel horsepower. So I don't want to hear no horsepower excuses out of you, Ding. We want to see some driving, and we want to see it now. All right, we already talked about Isaac Torres Jr., but now we're going to talk about the senior, Isaac Torres Sr. He's coming in with Team Prodigy and Rigo Built, and they're bringing their 2016 Porsche GT3 RS. Woo-hoo! Such a good car. He's going to be showing up in limited class. He's running about 500 wheel horsepower, basically stock power, and he's got about 15 years under his belt. And he's only really got headers, exhaust, and a Veris Engineering rear wing. With that said, he's shooting for a 220, which I don't think he's going to win the class, but I think he's going to have a dang good time doing it with his son, which is an awesome time to have. So make sure to bring the family together, come out, have a good time, and attack some time. All right, now we got Ravi Tamerlan. He's coming in from WDL Racing, which if you need anything safety related, you go see him in the pits. He'll have it. He'll know what to do with it. He'll know how to use it. With that said, he's bringing his NSX, old Pinky Girl. She's going to be showing up with his limited class entry, making about 500 wheel horsepower. He's previously done a 224, but he's hoping to get that elusive 220 mark, putting him right in the hunt with all the other people shooting for that 220 magic. He's got about 20 years of HPD, time trials, and race experience. Which when you see him, you might ask him how it was driving when he was a baby, because he definitely doesn't look like he's been driving for 20 years. With that said, he's got tons of modifications on this car, from engine swaps to a Garrett G30 Turbo. He's got Quail SD, Motec, running on ethanol, MCS coilovers. Basically, if you could touch it, he's touched it on this car. So definitely an awesome car to check out. Definitely something that's really cool to see going around the track. Again, I like the diversity. I like the different cars. I like seeing NSXs, Porsches, Subarus, Civics, all those different things. So it's awesome to really diversify and have all sorts of different brands represented. And Ravi's bringing in some really awesome car to show us what he can do. All right, now we got a sweet co-driver setup with Jesse Zielinski and fan favorite Erlich Zerka. They're coming to us from Team Rival Machine and UMS Tuning. With that said, they're bringing us a Honda S2000, which limited class, it'll be really fun to watch a sweet Honda S2000 go around the track in limited class. It's bringing us 580 horsepower. They currently are projecting a 219. That's what we're hoping, which would get them under a lot of people that are hoping to get to that 220 mark. So that'll be really interesting to watch as that kind of goes out throughout the weekend. Jesse's got HPD experience, Bondurant Race School. Obviously, Ehrlich's got NASA, tons of time attack experience, and he can lean on his father for a ton of time attack experience. With that said, this car's got basically everything done to it under the sun with turbo sequential Motec. Basically, this is a lot of people's dream build when it comes to an S2000. So make sure to check this car out, check those guys out, and definitely I'm excited to see what these guys can bring to the table. Now we got Cal Fortner showing up in his Al's Auto Body 2016 Mercedes AMG GTS. That's right, I said it, a Mercedes AMG GTS. It's running 650 horsepower in limited class. He's got a current lap time of a 220, which is basically where a lot of the limited class cars are going to be. But with that said, he's projecting he's going to run a 216. That is a very, very good lap time. So we're really hoping that can come true because we like to see people go fast. This guy's got 7 years of time attack experience, autocross, and karting. You know, karting, the thing that a lot of people springboard off and do very amazing things with. Yeah, you learn to drive. Yeah, that thing. With that said, this thing's got a lot of suspension that are adapted from a GT4 car. He's got an APR GTC 500 wing, splitter, a bunch of aero components from APR. Basically, if these are things that he's done that have really helped out the aero, the handling side, then he's also upgraded his turbos to a pure 900 turbo setup, which is helping him get that extra horsepower to be able to blast down that back straightaway and really see what this car can do. I'm excited, and we're going to see what this AMG Mercedes can do. All right, now we got Eric Sutton showing up in his Team R Speed Motorsports 2002 Porsche Turbo. Porsche Turbo, huh? Nice choice. In limited class, 855 horsepower. He's bringing the smoke, really trying to get down that back straightaway as fast as he possibly can. He currently has a lap time of a 2:19.0, which is already astonishingly fast. But yet he's projecting a 2:15. 2:15. With that said, I'm really hoping he can actually go a little bit faster than that, just because Eric Fleming's record is a 2:12. So I'm hoping he can put a little pressure on that record from Eric Fleming. With that said, he's got a ton of racing experience. He's been an SCA national champion in 2001, 2023. Tons and tons of years of experience, as you heard. And with that, he's got a bunch of modifications on this Porsche that are really going to help him go down and put down the fastest time he possibly can. I'm really excited to see what he can do. It's not every day that you can see a 2002 Porsche Turbo go down and do some time attack. So I'm definitely excited to see it happen and watch Eric Sutton attack this time. All right, we got James Howe showing up from Team Jaeger Racing. Wink, wink, nod, nod. He's showing up in a 2016 Porsche GT3. He's going to be showing up to limited class, stock horsepower, 402 wheel horsepower. With that said, he's been to COTA once before in a Subaru, and it didn't blow up. He ran a 2-minute, 34-second lap time. He's projecting that he's going to be running a 2:25. I don't know how good. I don't know how bad. I don't know if that's even possible, but we're going to see if we can make that happen for James. At the end of the day, he's got 4 years of HPD/time attack experience, and really, this car's stock. You're talking about exhaust, wheels, and alignment. And he's showing up, and he's going to be running a really competitive lap time in limited class, and he'll be going up against some really awesome competitors here. Again, he's going out there, he's going to be gaining some experience, gaining some knowledge. It's going to be an awesome time, and I know he's going to be running some X-Comp tires. All right, we got a Subaru in limited class with Johankim Sandgaard. We're going to call him Sandgaard. He comes to us from Team Shruggy Racing. He's got a 2011 Subaru STI hatchback, the second Subaru hatchback, with Corey Crowder as well. Although this one's in limited class, and he's got himself the mark of the beast, making 666 horsepower, to the wheels. He's shooting for a 217, which is a pretty stout time in limited class. I'm really excited to see this Subaru go. It's definitely gone through a few changes from what you see up above. Hopefully adding some aero, adding some goodness, making it the better. And overall, this guy's got driving in rally. He's got driving in NASA. He's podium in his first time attack in 2023. So he's gotten a taste of glory. So he's searching for more. He's got a Garrett G30 900 turbo set up on it with an out front V4 block. I've run out front blocks for years. They were definitely a great little block to run. And he's also got, ding, 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 an X-Shift sequential gearbox, which again, I ran as well. So he's got a lot of good stuff in this car. Let's see if he can put it together, put down a good lap time, and actually come out victorious. Now we have Donald Brown coming to you from Team Rev Match Motorsports and Nerd Racing. He's bringing his 1995 Subaru Impreza Coupe to the party. Awesome car, great looking, great red color on this bad boy. I'm really hoping he's going to show up and there's going to be massive wings and splitters and canards coming all over it. That'd be amazing. He's going to be representing limited class with 425 horsepower with his Subaru STI swap from a 2011 Subaru. He also has a Garrett 3660 on this car with an air-to-water intercooler with MCS suspension, Link ECU, 85 tune from Clark Tuner tuning the car, tuning. Got it. So he's going to be coming to us. He also has done GTA before, Grid Life, and has done Super Lap Battle 4 other times. So he's got experience. He knows how to turn the wheel. He knows how to make things happen. Now, here's the big kicker to me. His previous lap time, 2 minute, 39 second lap time. He's projecting 2 minutes, 20 seconds. That's a leap. That's 19 seconds ahead of his best lap time. I really hope he can do it. I'm really excited to see if he can, but I'm expecting to see some magic happen here to make him jump 19 seconds. But let's hope he can do it. We want to see him in the hunt. We want to see him at the top of limited class with this awesome Subaru Impreza. Now we're going to take a look at Brad Perkins. He comes to us from Team Chicane Motorsports in his 2004 BMW M3. This M3 is making some stout power for limited class with 750 horsepower to the wheels. This BMW has a V8 swap from a BMW. No LS here. And he actually put a supercharger on it to give it that extra oomph. He also has got some PFC brakes, some MCS suspension, and some other things going on here and there. He competes, Grid Life, and a couple other time attack organizations, NASA, BMW, CCA. But overall, he has competed in Unlimited with Super Lap Battle before, but what he found out was this car's not made for Unlimited class. So he's bumping it down to limited class, seeing what he can do in limited class, and he's actually going to build a separate car to compete in unlimited class. So get ready. We're going to have some fun. We're going to check out what Brad Perkinson can do. He's projecting 215. So I'm excited to see what he can bring to limited class. He's definitely going to be right in the mix as one of the top competitors there, and we'll see what he can do. I'm actually hoping he can do better than 212 and get that record, because that's what we're searching for. Gary Wong is going to bring us the first BMW Supra. That's what he called it. I like it because really it's this hodgepodge of things that all come together to make the Supra a Supra. He's coming to us from Team Elite Performance with his BMW Supra. He's in limited class. He's making 700 wheel horsepower, and he's really looking for a sub 220 lap. I'm going to root him on, and I'm going to say he's going to go for a 218. That's what I think he's going to get to. He's got 10 years of HPD experience. He got second place at GTA Finals in 2022, so he's got some experience. He's got experience with time attack, and he's got lots of hopes and dreams with this car. A lot of bolt-ons, and he's running it on E85. It looks amazing, and I think he's ready to go. It's definitely going to be a good car to watch, and hopefully he gets that sub 220 time. Now we got Brad Wells coming in from Team Phoenix Autosports with his C5 Corvette. He's in limited class. Now this is an interesting situation here. This car's making 350 horsepower, but it's an LS. So he has the opportunity to go all sorts of horsepower, but he only has 350. And he's in limited class, so I think this could be a bit of a hindrance. I'm thinking this has to do with classing and other sort of racing that he's doing, but we'll see. He's got time trials experience in NASA and some other things he's got under his belt. He's basically making 350 wheel horsepower on a stock motor, except for cams and a header. And again, I believe that's because of his NASA TT3 trim. So big thing there. He's only 3,100 pounds with the driver. He's got aero on it. He's got suspension on it. He's definitely sitting in a situation where I think he's going to be a little underpowered for the time attack role, but he is projecting a 227 lap time, and we're going to hope and see what he can actually do with this car making such little horsepower in the realm of time attack. I know I've said it once, and I'm going to say it again. I love when we get a bunch of different style of cars showing up in classes. And this guy, George Zhao, he's bringing it with an Audi R8. We don't see a lot of those. Hell, you don't see a lot of those anywhere. So it's awesome to see him bring it out and bring it out to COTA and bring it out to Super Lap Battle. So I'm excited to see him as he goes around the laps. So he's got 500 wheel horsepower. He's done a 2 minute 20 second lap time previously, and this time he's hoping for a 216. That's going to put him in the hunt, but I'm really hoping he's underestimating so he can get deeper into that limited class territory. Now, with that said, he did finish third at finals this past year with a minute 46 lap time at Buttonwillow, so that kind of can gauge what he can do at the track. This car has APR Aero, MCS, two ways, gyro disc brakes, and weight reduction. So, again, not a heavily modded car, but it is that supercar kind of status that puts it immediately into limited class. So we're excited to see what he can do and excited to see him compete in limited class. All right, now we got Jason Merck showing up from Team OG Shark Motorsports. He's showing up in a limited class car favorite, a 2019 Porsche GT3 RS, which doesn't exactly have a lot of heavy engine modification. It's more of aero, suspension, just get around the corners fast type car. Pretty awesome car, making around 520 wheel horsepower. He's got a lot of experience with wheel-to-wheel, time trials, and more importantly, COTA's his home track. So lots of laps turned around this track, so I'm going to believe his prediction of a 2 minute 15-second lap time, which is going to be very competitive in limited class, so that's definitely going to help him out. With that said, I'm really excited to see what he can do and how he stacks up against the rest of the limited class competition. Alright guys, I know I said there was only going to be one Merc with Cal Fortner, but guess what? Another one just showed up. We got Wes Humphreys showing up from BSG Motorsports in his 2016 AMG GTS. These cars are awesome. I'm excited to see it at the track. They sound even better. And every time I think of them, I always think of Jeremy Clarkson yelling, "Power!" So that's just what I always think about. It is what it is. He's repping 580 horsepower. And basically, this guy's had experience from bikes in all sorts of tracks, all sorts of things. He's been doing cars for about 4 years now, and he just loves going to the track and having a good time, right? This guy, he's got all the safety mods, roll bar, seats, and harnesses, but he did the most important thing. He threw some aero on the car. So he's got a front splitter from APR and a rear wing from APR, and that's going to really help him as we go through those twisties. So we're going to check out his sweet ride as we get into this game. Now let's talk about Bill Betts. He's going to be bringing the lone Mitsubishi Evo to the party at COTA. I'm pretty excited. These used to be staples. They used to be all over the place. Every time attack event, we'd have multiple of them. Now, he's the only guy showing up with a Mitsubishi Evo. I'm a little disappointed in you guys, but at the same time, I'm excited to have Bill Betts there. Bill Betts is going to be representing Turn 1 ads. He's going to be in limited class with 600 horsepower in his Mitsubishi Evo. And, ding, 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 he's going to be going after the record. He's projecting that he's going to be able to run a 2 minute, 12-second lap time. This puts him pretty much at the top of the charts in limited class, and it's going to be a guy that you're absolutely going to have to watch. And let's be honest, you're going to want to watch him because he's repping this Evo to the fullest. Basically, we got a guy who's run GTA before. He got 4th place, but had an engine failure. Does happen in an Evo as well as a Subaru. Just throwing it out there. He's got an ETS turbo kit, intercooler, Fortunato suspension, Swift springs, all the good stuff. He's going to be bringing all the heat. He's got a great aero package on this car. Really something you're going to have to watch out for. really take a good look at Bill Betts in this Mitsubishi Evo. Now we're going to dive into Unlimited class. This is going to be the biggest, the best. This is going to be what really drives the competition. These guys are showing up with the biggest aero possible, with the most amount of horsepower, and looking to run the fastest lap times. With that said, there are a few rules you have to follow. Now, I will say, you have to keep things like A, B, and C pillars. You have to keep a lot of the tub, and it had to have a factory VIN. So those are the kind of constructs that this thing really sits within. This omits factory race cars and stuff like that, which we have classes for on the backside of. But this is for those guys that are going to come in, take a car that they purchased, and literally transform it into the biggest, baddest track beast possible. I'm going to say you're going to see the widest tires. You're going to see slicks on these cars. You're going to see a lot of G-forces. You're going to see aero pushing the tires into the pavement. It's a fun class to watch. I will say this is also the class that we see the most kabooms. Yeah, kabooms. But with that said, we expect a lot out of these guys, and we expect them to push the limits of unlimited class and really push the limits of what all these cars can do. So we have the first and last Ford Mustang showing up to the party, and he's showing up in unlimited class. Nicholas Gardner showing up for Team Serpent Stangs Racing in his 2020 GT500 Mustang. Now this car is making 900 horsepower, and the best part is he's making 900 horsepower on a stock engine with basically a pulley upgrade and running on E85. That's it. 900 horsepower. He's also got a wing and a splitter and a cage in this car to protect him against that 900 horsepower and the crowds. And he's got 5 years of grid life, SCCA, and NASA under his belt, which is really helping him in the driving department, which he's going to need to wrangle this beast around these corners. With that said, he is projecting a 2-minute, 14-second lap time in unlimited class with this beast of a Mustang. You're going to be able to see it. It's really awesome. Green livery on the side. Great to look at. At the end of the day, guys, this is going to be one of those cars. Again, I love to say this, we're going to have some diversity in the field. We're throwing out a Mustang out there, and it's going to be a car to watch. It's going to be awesome. It's going to sound awesome. So make sure to check him out and see how this car goes during the track. So for our next entry, we have Eric Fleming, who is the current limited class rear-wheel drive record holder. He bumped it up to unlimited. Now, did he mean to do that? Did he not mean to do that? I think it was a little bit of a situation where he put in paddle shifters without clearly reading that rule book, but makes it more enjoyable for us because now Eric's going to be able to push the car a little harder, a little faster, and he's going to be able to do more and more things in terms of weight reduction, as well as be able to put on some stickier tires, which is going to allow him to go even faster. So he ran a 212 last year. He's looking for a sub 210, and I'm absolutely cheering him on to see if he can get into that like sub 205 category. I know that is really hard and is going to be a stretch. But with that said, this car is fully gutted. It's realistically less than 3,000 pounds, although he doesn't really know because he hasn't weighed it yet. But it was 2,750 before. So you're talking 800 horsepower, less than 2,700 pounds. That's a pretty good power to weight ratio. And I'm not going to do any public math to figure out what that is. But with that said, this isn't a car that's really like crazy built on a ton of boost or anything like that. It's not that. It's not. So, which is kind of crazy because obviously this guy could throw a couple turbos at it and we could easily see over 1,300 horsepower. So it's all motor at the moment. He's got AP Racing brakes and the G-Speed team is behind him as well, helping him out, making sure that it's all running right. And at the end of the day, this guy's got 2 kids. He's got a lot of stuff going on, but he's absolutely the favorite in unlimited class at this moment in time, at least one of my favorites. And he's absolutely going to be putting the pedal to the metal the entire time to try to get the fastest lap time available. Now, I absolutely think he's going to be out there pushing hard, and I really hope that he can even get close to the current record because that is an immense record to get to. As fast as he can go, as fast as we can watch it. Let's go. All right, guys, new class on the horizon, GTX class. So with GTX class, this is kind of a really interesting class. This class was created for race cars, OEM production-based cars, Porsche Cup cars, factory race program type cars, bodies in white style club racer cars, all those things, right? So this is a class that allows for people to enter those cars into a class in time attack, and we can see what they can do. Very few rules. There's only 11 rules for this entire class. Now, granted, it doesn't go over the safety aspect, but at the end of the day, they have to be on any DOT tire or racing slick, functioning brake lights. There's no rules. It's basically just go out there, and it's going to be a blisteringly fast car that can go out there and kill some lap times. I'm excited. Now, from a purist standpoint, I think a lot of people will say this class doesn't make any sense in time attack, but I'm definitely the type of person, I want to see these cars out on track. I want to see how fast they go, because I like to compare more historic time attack car to these full built, full race cars, factory style race cars, because they're lighter, they're quicker, they're more horsepower a lot of times, or, especially when they're uncorked and they don't have their restrictors in place. So that's something that brings a lot of interesting facts and interesting aspects to the class of GTX. All right, now we have Jensen Little for Team Proto Tempo. Now, he's showing up in the GTX class with a Norma M30. I have no clue what a Norma M30 is. Sorry, guys. I don't know what it is. But it looks freaking cool. And the modifications he's got done to it is basically he took a Norma M30, made it better in every way, and added 2 turbos to it. So he could make anywhere from 600 to 1,000 horsepower in a car that's super light, and he's going to have to drive the living hell out of it to make it go around the track. With that said, he ran a 203 last year, good enough for second overall, and he's going to be looking to go sub 2 minute at COTA. That's fast. With that said, he's got the driving experience with going to schools, karting, autocross, track days, NASA SCCA, all sorts of things under his belt. He's a driver. He's an engineer. He likes the concept of building the car. He likes the concept of time attack. He likes going out there and just trying to run the fastest time possible in one given lap. This is the kind of guy we want to see out there. We want to see him ripping, and we want to see what kind of lap time, what he can do in this amazing beast of a car that he has made. Now we're in for a cool treat. We have a nice little co-driver setup with Nick Anderson and Ben Sloss. They're representing Team SVTP, and they're driving a 2003 Viper Competition Coupe. Again, bodies in white, those type of like factory race car style cars. They're going to be in GTX, making 630 wheel horsepower out of a sweet Viper. And he's going to be projecting, he's going to be around a 2 minute and 5 second lap. I'm hoping they're underestimating, I won't lie. And at the end of the day, Nick's got some experience in time trials and track battle and stuff like that. But this car has got paddle shift and a bunch of aero. I wish it had some more horsepower. I'm not going to lie. I would have really liked to see around 800 wheel. Just been, a little bit better on the straightaway there. Car looks awesome. Can't wait to see it out there, and definitely excited to see it go out and have some fun in the GTX class. Now we're going to take a look at Max Effort class. Max Effort class is basically a rule set where you went outside the bounds of general time attack rules beyond unlimited class. And, well, now we're going to essentially let you be in, and we're going to let you be in under the Max Effort class. With that said, there's only 9 rules. Basically, those rules are, it does have a VIN, because otherwise it would put you into a different class, the GTX class. With that said, the other 9 rules, pretty simple, but the big thing to really note is they can run any tire up including to a slick. The body of the car still has to look very similar to the original body of that car, but again, that's about it. So you're going to see a lot of very interesting cars in this class that allows them to build and grow and do some amazing things in this class. All right, we got Mike Dussault showing up representing Dussault Designs with his 1967 Camaro. He's going to be repping in Max Effort class, and this is going to be the highest horsepower car of the bunch. 1,300 horsepower coming out of this bad boy. This is going to be a pretty cool car to hear, I think, coming down that front straightaway. Going to be pretty awesome to check out. He has currently run a 209, but he is projecting to run a 205, which is going to be right up in the top dogs of everybody for this event. I'm really excited to see it. At this moment, he's basically showing up with autocross and time attack experience, about 10 years of it, so not new to the party. With that said, the car has an LS7 paddle shift sequential transmission and, more importantly, a composite body keeping that weight down. This is a car you're probably going to want to go up and get a closer look at and really get a feel for what he's putting in to this car to make it get to where it's currently at.